The Story Dragon podcast presents The Dragon Rock. Ben had always admired his big brother Mike's rock collection. Mike, at 13, was practically a geologist already. He had geodes of every color: amethyst purple, citrine yellow, deep blue, and even crystal clear quartz. Mike always talked about traveling the world to find rare minerals, and Ben, at 8 years old, wanted nothing more than to be just like him. One afternoon, while Mike carefully arranged his prized geodes on the shelf, Ben sighed. "I wish I had a geode of my own," he muttered, tracing a finger over the smooth surface of a deep red stone. "You'll have to find one first," Mike said with a smirk, "and they're not just lying around. You need to know where to look." Ben puffed out his chest. "Then I'll find one. Just wait." Determined, Ben grabbed his backpack and hurried into the woods behind their house. The late afternoon sun painted the trees gold as he searched the ground, kicking over leaves and checking under bushes. After nearly half an hour, just as he was about to give up, something caught his eye. A round, dusty rock sat nestled in the roots of an old oak tree. It was just the right size and had a rough surface, just like Mike's geodes before he cracked them open. Ben's heart pounded with excitement. He had found one. He hurried home, running so fast that he almost tripped on the porch steps. In the garage, he grabbed a hammer and placed the rock on an old towel. He raised the hammer high and brought it down with a solid whack. The rock cracked, but instead of revealing sparkling crystals, something else happened. A tiny, scaly foot pushed out through the crack. Ben jumped back, his eyes wide. "What was that?" He leaned in cautiously. The rock wiggled. Another crack formed, and then pop! The whole thing split open. Ben gasped. Inside was not a geode, but a creature. A tiny, green-scaled creature with wings. It blinked at him with bright golden eyes and let out a tiny squeak. "A lizard?" Ben whispered, reaching out a trembling hand. The creature stepped into his palm, warm and smooth against his skin. It stretched its little wings, flapped them once, then curled its tail around Ben's thumb. "Wait, lizards don't have wings." The creature yawned, showing tiny, sharp teeth, and then, with a hiccup, a small spark flickered from its mouth. "Eep!" Ben yelped and nearly dropped it. "Whoa! You're a dragon!" The baby dragon chirped and nuzzled into Ben's hand. Ben couldn't believe it. He had found a real, live dragon in the woods. His very own dragon. But then panic hit him. What if Mike found out? Or worse, what if Mom and Dad made him get rid of it? He had to keep it a secret. Ben carefully wrapped the dragon in a soft old t-shirt and snuck up to his room. He grabbed a shoebox, poked some holes in the lid, and made a little nest with a hand towel. He set the dragon inside. "You'll be safe in here." The dragon blinked sleepily and curled up into a tiny ball. Ben grinned, feeling like the luckiest kid in the world. For the next few days, Ben did his best to keep his new pet hidden. He named the dragon Ember because of the way the little sparks danced from its mouth when it sneezed. He fed it bits of leftover chicken and even tried giving it some of Mike's rock collection. Ember nibbled on a quartz piece, but didn't seem very interested. But keeping a dragon a secret was hard. Ember didn't like staying in his shoebox and kept climbing into Ben's bed, curling up under his pillow. One morning, Ben woke up to find a small scorch mark on his blanket where Ember had sneezed in his sleep. Things got trickier when Mike started getting suspicious. "You've been acting weird," Mike said one afternoon, narrowing his eyes at Ben. "And why do I keep smelling smoke?" Ben laughed nervously. "No reason. Maybe Mom burnt toast?" Mike crossed his arms. "You're hiding something." "No, I'm not." At that moment, a tiny sneeze came from under Ben's bed, followed by a little burst of flame. Mike's eyes widened. "What was that?" Ben gulped. There's no use lying now. He reached under the bed and carefully pulled out Ember. The little dragon blinked up at Mike and let out a tiny chirp. Boop. Mike's mouth dropped open. That's a dragon." Ben cringed, waiting for Mike to freak out. But instead, his big brother's expression turned to amazement. "That's so cool!" Ben let out a relieved breath. So you won't tell?" Mike grinned. "Are you kidding? You found a dragon. I'd never tell." The brothers sat on the floor, watching as Ember wiggled its tiny wings and climbed onto Ben's shoulder. "This is the best thing ever," Mike whispered. "But you know, dragons grow, right?" Ben frowned. He hadn't thought about that. That night, Ben lay awake, watching Ember sleep curled up on his pillow. What would happen when Ember got too big? He couldn't keep a full-grown dragon hidden in his bedroom. The next morning, he told Mike his worries. Mike nodded. "We'll figure it out, but for now, we take care of Ember." For the next few weeks, the brothers worked together to make Ember comfortable. They snuck food from dinner, found a heat lamp in the garage, and even let Ember practice flying in the backyard late at night. But as the weeks passed, Ember grew fast. His wings got bigger, his flames got stronger, and soon he didn't fit in the shoebox anymore. One evening, as Ben watched Ember struggle to spread his wings in the bedroom, he realized the truth. Ember needed more space. He needed to be free. Ben's heart ached. He knew what he had to do. With Mike's help, he took Ember back to the woods where he had found the egg. Ember tilted his head as Ben set him on the ground. "You need to go, buddy," Ben whispered, a tear rolling down his cheek. "You belong out there." The little dragon let out a sad chirp. Then, with one powerful flap of his wings, he lifted into the air. Ben and Leo watched as Ember flew higher and higher, circling above them before finally disappearing into the night sky. Ben wiped his eyes. "Do you think we'll ever see him again?" Mike put a hand on his shoulder. "I think so. And who knows, maybe one day, when I'm a geologist traveling the world, I'll find him again." Ben smiled. Even though he didn't get a geode, he had found something even better. A friend. And maybe, just maybe, the dragon would always be watching over him. The end.